Convert Element is an armor skill that has been getting a lot of attention recently from content creators and build crafters alike, and is getting that attention for good reason, as it might just be the secret sauce to making elemental builds more competitive with raw in the base version of Wilds. Just like any other amazing skill though, certain weapon types can abuse the full potential of Convert Element better than others. So today we'll be doing some theory crafting to figure out what those weapon types are. I'm comfortable with a lot of different weapons, but I'm no expert at most of the weapon types in this game, so I'm gonna need your help in the comments to make sure that we have a proper discussion on the strengths and weaknesses of Convert Element for the specific weapon type that you enjoy. And if anything I said sparked an idea that could lead to further research, definitely share your thoughts in the comments below. If we put our brain cells together, we may push elemental builds to the next level. Let's baseline Convert Element so we're all on the same page. How does it function? Convert Element is actually two skills in one. When triggered, it will give you an additional dragon attack if you are using a dragon weapon, and for the duration of the skill being active, you'll also deal extra damage for the element that you have equipped in a similar fashion to Blast. That is, if you deal enough elemental damage up to a certain threshold, an additional proc of damage will trigger. While the first part of the skill only works when you have dragon damage equipped, and will increase the attack value of that dragon element by a flat amount based on the level of the skill, with 80 for level 1, 120 for level 2, and 180 for level 3. It will also grant you a flat amount of elemental defense based on the element that triggered Convert Element. At level 1, you get 4, at level 2 you get 6, and level 3 you get 8 elemental defense of that type. The more interesting and powerful part is the Blast-like proc that works for any element, and at level 3 is actually quite strong. Based on a research video posted by SD Shepard, he found out through testing that the Blast-like proc has two damaging components: true damage that will always deal a set amount no matter what the monster's resistance is, and then some additional dragon damage is added on top. This part of the damage will be calculated using the monster's hit zone and the resistances on that hit zone. The damage of the Blast-like proc depends on the level of Convert Element. At level 1, the proc will deal 150 true damage and 60 dragon damage. At level 2, the true damage amps up to 200 and the dragon damage amps up to 80. And at level 3, the true damage becomes a whopping 280 plus 100 additional dragon damage on each proc. Essentially, when Convert Element is active, if you can vomit out as much element damage as possible, you'll be able to make great use of Convert Element. But this skill does have a couple of major downsides that we have to consider. The first being how conditional the skill is to trigger and how long it lasts. The skill will last for 180 seconds once it activates, with a cooldown of 90 seconds before you can trigger Convert Element again. It's not too bad, but then you add in the other caveat: you have to get hit by an element attack to even trigger this skill. Or maybe not. Certain counter-like abilities like the Dual Blade and Bow's Perfect Dodge seems to trigger Convert Element even if you take no damage, or the counter slashes from Switch Axes or Longsword will do the same as well. Guarding an element attack seems to have the same effect as all these other counter-like abilities, and I'm sure offset attacking some attacks would even trigger it too, similar to the skill Counter-Strike. So at the very least, even with the constraint, there's a way to skillfully trigger Convert Elements. And with that in mind, just by taking into account the fact that we can't offset certain projectiles, for some monsters, that's the only way they're gonna do their element attack on you, is by a fireball or something like that. So with that, we'll eliminate Hunting Horn, Hammers, and Insect Glaives from this list. They can make use of Convert Elements, but are they gonna be the best at it? Probably not. The next major downside stems from the fact that the Blast-like proc can only be triggered by specific weapon attack strings. For sake of brevity, because testing all the weapon types would drive me insane, I will assume it's coded exactly like how the Corrupted Mantles' extra damage is triggered. For example, Dual Blades' Demon Dance and Demon Flurry cannot trigger this portion of the skill, which kinda stinks for a Dual Blade user like me. While I was initially hyped about the prospect of a Dual Blade build focused around this skill because of all the cool lightning particles that you get when you trigger it, oh bro, it's so sick looking. That one little condition makes the playstyle super limiting. There is a combo that speedrunners use that can make great use of Corrupted Mantle and by extension Convert Element, but it's not the way that I would prefer to play naturally. I like using the entirety of the Dual Blades' moveset, so that's just a choice for me where I could make this skill work, but then it's not a playstyle I care to do. And then after testing out the damage compared to the optimized build I posted earlier, link on the top right of the screen or in the description, the damage for how conditional Convert Element 3 is just lags behind that build. Even testing it against Gravios with his belly broken, the one who's the weakest to dragon currently in base Wilds, it just didn't compare. It could be good in the future once more monsters who are super weak to elements are introduced, but right now, we can remove Dual Blades from the running. After that disappointment, my mind immediately traveled to the Crimson/Longsword build that I posted during the launch week of the game. If you're interested in that build, there should be a link on the top right of the screen and the description as well. With this build, once we get to the red spirit gauge, Crimson/spamming has super strong synergy with Corrupted Mantle. In theory, Longsword will be able to make really great use of Convert Element, and it does! While Convert Element 3 is active, you are constantly outputting awesome damage and staggers, but it comes with a catch. Before we continue, what are your thoughts on Convert Elements so far? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're down there, support your boy by hitting that like button and subscribe for more Monster Hunter Wilds content. Thanks. If you're looking for people to play with, consider joining our squad. Squad ID on screen and in the description below. We'll be hosting some crown hunt parties over the coming weekends, so there'll be plenty of opportunities to come join in on the fun and make some friends. I'll be posting the time and the lobby ID in my community post, so if you don't want to miss it, be sure to turn on notifications. While wheeling on a test dummy is fine and all, in actual gameplay, I find that controlling the Convert Element proc, plus gaining and maintaining a rate gauge as well, it's a bit clunky. The ideal condition is that you want to trigger Convert Element right as you get to red spirit gauge. And to do that, you're basically gonna have to ES/parry a fireball while you're in the yellow spirit gauge, and it doesn't seem too bad, but then you have to wait around for that element attack and so on and so forth. It's a perfect scenario that would barely ever happen. And that's the crux of the problem with Convert Element and Longsword. You could end up triggering Convert Elements too early when you're still building up your red spirit gauge, which means by the time you get to red, you're not gonna have Convert Elements for 90 seconds, or you might be getting Convert Elements right as you're ending the red spirit gauge. So then you'd spend time building it back up instead of trying to proc the blast-like effect with your Crimson Slashes. And then it gets to the worst part. In terms of comparing the damage to my level 5 burst plus 100% affinity build, the overall DPS compared to a Convert Element 3 build is negligible, which is not a bad thing per se, but the level 5 burst plus 100% affinity build is way more consistent and will output more damage over time than this Convert Elements build. The worst part of it is the burst build that I shared in that video is not an optimal build in the slightest. It could be tweaked to be even stronger, so if it's comparable to that, imagine comparing it to an optimized Longsword build. It's not even in the same ballpark. And that's not all. Combine that with the fact that not every monster in the roster will even have an element attack for you to parry or get hit by. There will be hunts where you will never use Convert Elements in any situation because you don't have a way to trigger it, even if you're playing optimally. With that said though, I still love the black lightning effect, especially for Longsword. It's super anime, it reminds me of Bleach, and I might even rock it just for the style. But that's just my own personal philosophy on how I play Monster Hunter. Rule of cool beats out optimal most of the time. I certainly have the potential to become sweaty, but I don't see a point in a co-op game. But then at that point, you wouldn't mess with skills like Convert Element at all, which would be kind of sad because I think Convert Element should be the way powerful skills are designed. There's a niche for it, and you won't be able to use it in every single fight. While that can be annoying, that type of gameplay design forces you to think about what monster you're about to hunt and what armor sets you're going to use and the skills you're going to use. Having that nuance is what makes Monster Hunter fun for build crafters like me. Sure, a certain skill could be useful in all situations, but at the same time, it's useful for all situations, so now I have to bring it because it's the best in every single situation. But that's the catch-22 of a very powerful skill, is that it crowds out all the other options that are conditionally good, just like Convert Element here, as it faces the damage comparison with other builds. But anyways, back on topic. Conversely, unlike the Longsword, Switch Axe's amp state is much easier to reach, and if we combine that with their own parry and counterattack and their enhanced element damage from element files, we may have a weapon who can make great use of this skill. With that said, I'm calling all Switch Axe mains. If you have an already optimized raw build, do some testing with a Convert Element build, maybe the one that I'll show later in this video, and let me know how the Convert Element build stacks up to raw damage builds. Outside of the Switch Axe, I see 3 other weapon types that could be really great at consistently activating Convert Elements without too much setup or prep time. The first is bow. Since you'll have a bit of range away from the monster will be more likely to shoot a projectile at you, putting you at a positional advantage to use Convert Elements and then dump your damage through using a perfect evade. And then the next 2 is Sword and Shield and Lance. Both weapons can block any element attack with the shield easily, and it doesn't even matter if you perfect parry or not. And the best part of it is, no matter when you trigger Convert Element, you are ready to deal your optimal damage. There is no setup or prep time or resources you need to build with these 2 weapons. Add to that, both weapons' main way of dealing damage have amazing synergy with the Corrupted Mantle's bonus attack procs anyways, which should translate to the Convert Elements' blast-like effects triggering more often with these two weapons. And lastly, there might be some potential for greatswords here, but I'm not sure if it's worthwhile going for convert element over just stacking raw for greatsword damage. You can block with it, you can offset parry with it, you can armor through things with a tackle. There's a lot of ways to proc convert element 3. Even on a raw only build, getting additional blasts is not a bad thing, but because convert element is not so easily found in a lot of armor sets, you're gonna have a hard time slotting in a decent amount of convert elements to make it worthwhile. If you're interested in trying out convert elements for yourself, I made a build that has level 3 convert elements and also an effective 105 affinity when hitting wounds. To achieve this, we're gonna be using the Arc Vulcan Helm Beta, the Gore Mail Alpha, the Arc Vulcan Vambrace Beta, the Arc Vulcan Coil Beta, and the Gore Greaves Beta with the decorations that you see on screen, and the Convert Charm 1. With the decorations slotted, you're gonna get level 5 Weakness Exploit, level 4 Constitution, level 3 Max Might, level 3 Convert Elements, level 3 Antivirus, level 2 Evade Window, level 1 Recovery Speed, and level 1 Flinch Free. Convert Element 3 could be good in certain situations. It certainly is appealing from a potential damage aspect and it looks really cool to boot. I'm just hoping there'll be easier ways to access the skill in the coming title updates, and also maybe even a buff to Convert Element. If it had a second way to trigger, just like Latent Power, maybe you take too much damage or a certain amount of time has elapsed, this skill could be a lot better. So there'll be a way to always trigger it regardless of if there's a monster who can use Element or not. But as it is right now, it feels a bit too restrictive and too conditional to compete with a more consistent raw damage option or even an element option that has more consistency, but time will tell. If you had a good time, again, be sure to support your boy, hit that like button, and let us know what you think about all this in the comments below. For more fun insights into Monster Hunter and its mechanics, check out this video on screen right now. My name is Varsona, and I'll see you in the next video.